Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. Dogbout333, and welcome back to Hearts Around 4 Kaiserreich as Ukraine. In the last video, we started working on our industrialization. And it's actually coming along pretty well, I'd say. We'll do the Great Eastern Railway from here. It's coming along very nicely. Our industrialization is zooming along. It's not quite there yet, but we're starting. Now, on the other hand, our land reform is doing jack fucking squat right now. We're not doing anything there, really. At all. Which is totally not gonna blow up in our faces and lead to the military government being overthrown. Never. No, never. Meanwhile, we have a looming Russian threat. In the midst of the Russian Civil War in 1919, two conferences convened in Ufa by the White Movement. Alexander Kolchak attempted to decide the future of the anti-Bolshevik movement. The Ukrainian state requested a presence at the conference, in part to stand in for the German Empire. At the end of the conference, the Ukrainian delegation, led by Foreign Minister Dmytro Doroshenko, came to an agreement with the leaders of the White Movement, which included an informal recognition of the independence of Germany's eastern allies, as well as the continued material support from the German Empire through Ukraine and the Baltics to the southern and northwestern armies, respectively. A year later, the Russian government formally recognized a Ukrainian state for the first time as it signed the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. With German hegemony in Europe secured and Russia severely weakened, many thought it would be an everlasting peace. Ukrainians on the left and right saw a possible new era in Russo-Ukrainian relations, not a relationship based on imperial state to subject, but on mutual cooperation between equal states. The recent formation of the Moscow Accord only seems to prove this world has become more tense after Black Monday, and that this once hoped-for potential cooperation is becoming more and more of a fantasy. Some expressed surprise given the state of economic stagnation and foreign policy failures that the Russian state experienced in the recent decades. Others have pointed out that since its independence, Ukraine's defense capabilities have stagnated, relying on its alliance with Germany to deter any potential aggressors, an act no longer feasible as the German order signaling continues to crumble. But our freedom will not be lost. 5% war support. It's not the best, but it's okay. We're coming along. We have time to... I might wait a little bit before we get to the new generation of aircraft. I could do something over here potentially. Let's do support companies. I'll start with logistics companies. Russian threat, first time, huh? About to finish up the Great Western Railway. Fantastic. So that was Kiev to Brest. Very nice. Getting another one, which is going to go to Yazuka. Which is somewhere. This is over here, I suppose. Oh, Yuzuvka. Oh, right here. Okay. I might go like here, I'm guessing. Very nice. Very nice. The dominant conservative factions within the Hetmanate have traditionally espoused an economic policy that favors state interventionism. It's particularly evident in the case of SHD, which has embarked on a program of nationalizing several key industries since assuming power. However, this policy has not been without its challenges, as the corruption of appointing state managers has been beset by allegations of corruption. Many bureaucrats, some of whom are believed to have close ties to Hamzin himself, have been accused of subsidizing certain industries in exchange for a share of the profits. The identity of the individual responsible for uncovering these scandals remains unknown, though there are some who suspect Ivan Polovets Ostrianistia, who has been actively working to undermine Hosman's position for some time. We must be ever vigilant. That son of a bitch. I hate this guy. We could develop the agro industries, extra civilian factories. That sounds like it's going to hit the spot. Although, the Kherson Crimea development sounds very nice as well. The extra... Is that chromium? I think it's chromium. That looks pretty good. Well, I mean, America has been hyper worried about the Russian threat for a while. Well, depending. Like, the whole Cold War was freaking out about the Soviet Union. And the godless commies. Or, you know, what they would describe as godless commies, of course. So, it's not unfounded. Probably get working on some better fighters and Air Force stuff. I don't know if I'll really be able to work on much, but I don't really know the new air system very much. Okay, but, you know, that's a tomato-tomato type of deal there. Sort of the same thing. Like, we treat them as the same thing, essentially. Compared to parties such as the Social Democratic Workers' Party and the Agrarian Democratic Party, the League of Ukrainian Nationalists have never had a strong standing in the countryside, the rhetoric often only finding support among right-leaning intelligentsia. As the left-leaning opposition to the Hetmanate fades and the League tries to improve their standing among the peasantry, they have come across an unlikely ally, a former Republican by the name of Kirillo Osmak, head of a cooperative association, Siskii Hospodar, an agricultural organization founded in Galicia in 1899 and later expanding operations across Ukraine. Osmak is concerned about the League's authoritarian tendencies and radical proposals. Despite this, Osmak seems to believe that Sisaborsky's worries regarding the well-being of peasants and farmers are sincere. A de facto alliance has been formed between the League and Siskii Hospodar, with many posts in the regional network across the cooperative association being taken up by the League. In addition to providing assistance in setting up and operating farmer cooperatives, offering agricultural education and aid to struggling farmers, League members have used the opportunity to spread their message of a new Ukraine, where the needs of Ukrainian people are the first concern of the state, and where there is no place for the tyranny of big landowners. Local small protests influenced by the League have taken place in the countryside, demanding the government to distribute land fairly. Well, that's worrying. We're going to go ahead and do some mutually beneficial agreements. Cooperation with the VSZV and Protofis can only be mutually beneficial. In exchange for valuable support for the government, they will be able to attract investors and ensure a flow of business that will bring our industrialization efforts to a greater height. Wonderful. So that's going to save us political power in the long term, but it's also going to give us some market liberal popular support, which is going to be interesting. I like how this is simulated. This is really interesting. And Kaiserreich always does a pretty good job with all their countries, especially as of late. Ooh, great. More guns. Yeah, they've done a very good job. I am a Kaiserreich fan. I do like Kaiserreich a lot, and they do a lot of good job. They do a lot of cool things, and they've done a good job, I think, with this update with Ukraine. It seems pretty cool. I don't know, I can't speak to the potential accuracy, but... After tumultuous years, our economy is finally in green numbers. In fact, it's never been better. The war in America has drastically reduced amounts of exported wheat in world markets, and we have been among those greatly profiting from the tragedy of the United States. In addition, the world around us has been recovering from the worst economic recession. Despite looming threats of war and still sore wounds from the revolt, Ukrainian exports have recovered very well. Do we want stability, or do we want reduced consumer goods? I think I'll take reduced consumer goods. Yeah. Look at us go. I will go ahead and wait for the focus to go before we get working on this. Current industrial progress is poor. Oh yeah, I know. I know. Ukrainization process. By the next stage, Doggo starts speaking in Ukrainian. Completely forgot the English language. I mean, depending on who you ask, I barely know the English language already. So, we do knightly virtues. Extra organization will be okay. Could also do some army stuff. Although this would be very good. We should get working. That's only for a certain amount of time, but we're starting to get our industry going, so we might as well get working on the reserve armament program. Our reserve manpower is easily over 1 million men, but our truth is that we barely have equipment to arm half that many in case of mobilization, and must be solved quickly. My back. Getting older, doggo. I sure as hell feel like I am, at least. We don't need steel, we need tungsten. A bit of an embarrassing misclick. The emergence of the influential Cossack councils as a result of increasing power of the Great Cossack Rada has brought about a number of challenges in recent times. The Great Cossack Rada's growing influence has led to concerns among many in the SHG about the concentration of power and the implication this may have for governance. One of the most pressing issues by the perceived overreach of a regional Cossack council is not flat by the complaints of the local big landowner about the overzealous intrusion of local Cossack assembly in the process of land redistribution. It's just one of the many grievances that have been raised against the council, with many in the SHG believing that they are taking too much interest in matters that should be left to local authorities. Furthermore, there are growing concerns about the extent of the government's reliance on a Von Pivo's PO. Many in the SHG feel that O has been given too much power, which has in turn emboldened his allies in the Cossackdom to overstep their bounds. Be healthy, because American healthcare is, yeah. I mean, quality-wise, American healthcare is actually pretty good. Depending on where you are, of course. Some places in the South, or I think New Mexico, you do not want to get sick. But facility-wise, we have it. It's just, you really gotta pay for it. Well, who would have thought? A group of peasants have gone on strike protesting the government for their inaction concerning land reform, complaining of low wages and poor conditions in the field. Though the strike will eventually come to pass, the strike is a clear sign that we must redouble our efforts if we want to maintain stability and curb unrest. Yeah, American healthcare is kind of the worst of both worlds. Because we do have a public system to a degree with, like, Medicare, Medi-Cal, Affordable Care Act, stuff like that. So we kind of have a government role, but it's still not the best, and it doesn't really stretch out to help as many people who might need healthcare and can't get it otherwise. But we also have a private system which is more than willing to gouge prices and still doesn't take up the slack that, you know. So it's like we don't really have the best public system. And our private system is screwing most Americans. So it's... I don't necessarily know what the answer is. We need better healthcare overall. I don't think there's a question about that. Whether there's a market answer to it or a more government-involved answer, or probably both. Some mixture of both. I don't know. But either really, we're not getting the best of either. We're kind of getting some of the worst aspects of both, with none of the benefits. And that's just me spitballing. I could be wrong there. But I don't think I am there, from my understanding. Do the Air Fleet Inspectorate? Why not? Let's do it. Appointing a dedicated inspector of the Air Force will ensure that someone is aware of the weaknesses permeating our air fleets, can act to solve these issues, rather than leaving these questions to the individual Air Force officers. I'm not going to go too much more into that, because I don't want it to be a flame war in the comment section, or people calling me a communist or a fascist or whatever the fuck. Because either label will be thrown around no matter what I say. Because people don't really understand labels. But that's okay. That's that. I'm going to leave it there. I'm just going to not go beyond the vague surface level observations. I probably could, but I don't really want to. Kingdom of Spain's capitulated, fall of Gibraltar. While the League's agitators continue their efforts in radicalizing the peasantry and organizing new protests, the military remains the most vulnerable institution for ultranationals' infiltration. Although with sporadic contacts between even relatively high-ranking officers in the League existed for a long time, they were just that, mostly accidental and insignificant. This seems to have changed for the worse, however, with rumors emerging about the two officers being strongly involved in cooperation with the LUN, Petro Bolbochan and Volodymyr Oskilko, who both have a reputation of being rather independently minded and somewhat rash in thought and action. It's an open secret in military circles that both see the army as something more than a mere part of a state security apparatus. The strongly pronounced elitist tendencies of the SAG always put them off, but the openly populistic rhetoric of the LUN managed to attract their interest. While they remain mostly indifferent to the more esoteric tenets of the League's beliefs, they definitely place certain hopes on this dynamic and uncompromisingly radical organization. It causes a concern. If we don't have more than 50 or more land reform points soon, the League may be able to take over the government. Oh no, we don't have any... Uh-oh. We don't have any political power to do anything. What are we going to do? Okay, so the peasants' support for the ultranationalists is accurate, at least according to... Uh-oh. Today, with approval from the Ottoman minister Boris Hamzin and the hetman, Crimea's autonomous status has been revoked. This decision, unusually why can I not speak today? Unanimous one. No, that's unanimous. I thought I was saying ununanimous for once. Not a unanimous one is the latest in a series of administrative reforms aimed at centralizing power around the hetman's government, and a move justified by citing bureaucratic bloat and systemic inefficiencies in the Crimean government. For those building the new vision of a hetmanate, such legal barriers can no longer be allowed to stand. If the law does not serve the needs of a rational, efficient state, then it must be set aside. The decision has been a highly contentious one. During the deliberations, it was brought up repeatedly among the council ministers that revoking Crimea's autonomy could have serious consequences and lead to separatism. The demographics of Crimea are remarkably mixed, consisting of Ukrainians, Tatars, as well as ethnic Russians and Russophones, many of whom have greatly appreciated the autonomy that had been previously granted to them. Indeed, the autonomy of Crimea was arguably instrumental to their accession into the Ukrainian state to begin with. And now that's gone, the local popular reaction has been resoundingly negative. A solution was quickly found in the previous head of the Crimean government, Suleiman Sulkevic, whom the council made a proposal to appoint as a Crimean representative in council ministers. While he would not have a supreme veto over Crimean affairs that he once did, his presence and influence would give him a large voice in handling the government of Crimea, second only to the Ottoman minister and the hetman. Though not a particularly popular politician, Sulkevic's words carry great weight among the Crimean people, and his reassurances to the people have brought a degree of calm to the public outcry. Not long after the signing of his bill into law, Russia's foreign minister spoke of the move, accusing the government of oppressing ethnic Russians and Russian speakers, and of imagined Ukrainian atrocities. Foreign Minister Adam Montrezor responded by stating that there is no such intention, reiterating that the move was to streamline the administration, not to pressure Russians, and further decried Russia as attempting to stir separatism. It was to be expected. Well, I thought it was cool that it had a little thing there for a while, but alas, it is no more. I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. Thank you as always for watching, gang. Like if you liked, dislike if you didn't. Leave any comments, feedback, concerns down in the comment section below. Hit the sub button if you want to keep updated with uploads weekdays as well as occasionally Saturdays. And check out my various links down in the description box below. I thank you all for watching. My name is Mr. Doggo333. I thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.